for the purpose of kind of establishing why we're here, Tony and I met, it's probably been 4 or 5 months ago now. We actually met as part of Broker Agent Advisor, which is a community that's been recognizing agents who are consistent in production for the last 27 years. Tony has since gone on to obviously be a partner with the Faces of, and I've gotten to know Tony really well. He's one of the top 1% in terms of production agents in the country, and he spends a lot of his time giving of his experience and his knowledge to others. And so we came up with this idea of breaking down Tony's 6-part system on how he stays top of mind and present and generates business from his sphere of influence. He's got 6 individual buckets that he actively works to do that very, very successfully. And so we're going to do 6 sessions, one for each part of Tony's system, and share that with anybody that is interested in learning how Tony does it. And last month we did social media. Today we're going to focus on email. I represent and I'm a partner with the Faces of, and am proud to be a sponsor and help kind of celebrate and support the real estate industry. And Tony, it's a privilege to be able to share this hour with you. Every time we get together, I'm just in awe of your selflessness and the energy you have for serving others. And with that, my friend, if you want to kind of introduce your 6-part system and jump right into email marketing and introduce yourself, here we go, another session, and I'm glad to be here.
Here we go. Yeah, thank you so much. To preface this whole thing, the reason I do what I do is because way back when, and about 26 years ago, actually 25 years ago, I had been in real estate. I did not like real estate. I thought it was a horrible profession. I didn't want to door knock. I didn't want to cold call. There was no internet or cell phones. None of that existed. And I did not agree with the profession at all. And I was super disappointed because I thought it was going to be my thing. And it turned out it wasn't. And so what happened was I stumbled upon a coach, Joe Stump over at By Referral Only, and Joe had a different way of teaching. And Joe's idea was we could have business within that brokerage firm. We could be a business that actually people came to us with reverence, and they set schedules with us, and they didn't expect us to work on Sundays. And so he had a different type of idea, and I embraced that idea and fell back in love with real estate. And the first thing Joe said to me was, look, we have to design the life that you want, and then we're going to fit this business into that life. And so I remember sitting down and I wrote that I wanted 6 vacations a year, and I wanted to travel abroad, and I wanted to work Monday through Friday, and I didn't want to work on weekends. And I wanted to have that type of reverence with my business. So it was very important to me to create systems and to get education as quickly as I possibly could. So the systems that I use are all designed to give me that efficiency. Now, I have for the past 25 years, I typically take 6 vacations a year. I do spend 30 days typically every year, a minimum of 30 days in Europe pre-COVID. And I plan to get back there as soon as possible. And sometimes I've been known to do 60 days in Europe. One of the nice things about running systems is that I can be in Europe, which I have many times, and decided not to come home. And so I'll jump a little tiny plane and end up somewhere else. And that's the beauty of being very efficient and having great systems. I'm going to share this screen for you. Let's see if I can. Oh, actually, I need Brian for you to enable that.
I'm on it.
I see Beth Mulhausen and Marta. I feel like I'm in romper room again. Chris, I've seen Chris before in my classes. I recognize Chris.
Huh.
Oh,
you should be good, Tony.
Yep, I got it.
And while he's working on that, we'll save questions because the size of the audience. If you have a question or there's something specific you'd like to ask, if you don't mind, just give me a heads up in the chat box, and we'll try to keep that as organized as possible.
We should be good. So everybody should be, can you see my screen over there?
Yes, sir.
Good, we're good to go? Okay. Sorry, I'm moving stuff around. moving all this little fun stuff around. Okay. Okay. And this thing's giving me a hassle. I don't know why. So I'm going to just do this. So you can see the top 6 campaigns that we're working off of. Last time we did social media, and we went into the systems, the systems I use most, I would say. And I'll admit and throw myself right under this bus. I am a nerd geek guy who loves every freaking toy they come out with. And every day there's a new email in my inbox with some new thing on the internet, and I want to play with it. So I have to rein myself in. But the one thing that's great about this is that if I think something's going to work, I will give it a 1-year trial run and I will work the system. And if the ROI, the return on my investment, is 7 times or greater, then I will continue using that system. And so you will see the stuff that I show you in all of these classes I'm teaching are all because I get really high ROI. So email, today's class is going to be on email, and you can see that's the first yellow box on the top left as one of my top marketing campaigns. And so I'm going to go through a couple of the systems I use. Hopefully you'll be able to use those as well. And then, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not the email guru by any means. I just know enough to get myself in trouble and to make a little money off of it. So hopefully that'll all help you. Let's go to, if there are any questions. Brian, did you say we're going to field questions? I'm going to probably take pauses if that's okay with you between sections, so I can just jump in if we have any questions. So let me get, try to. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about email, because there's some importance here, and I'll throw you some fun facts. Does anybody in this room know right now when email was actually invented? I'd love to hear somebody. Somebody give me, Brian, shout, everybody put in the chat the year you think email was invented. And then Brian, tell me what the years are.
Good enough. Man, I couldn't even guess.
Yeah, email, the invention of email is going to probably be a little different than we remember.
Yeah, so I got an 81, I've got a 1991, or sorry, 89, 80s, 92, ooh, 75, 72.
Yeah.
85, nice. 86.
Fun numbers. So the first email message sent from computer to computer via app, which is a thing called ARPANET, which was the Advanced Research Projects Agency network that they were working on. A guy named Ray Tomlinson was working on it. And in October 29th of 1969, he sent the very first message from a computer to a computer.
Wow.
So email's a lot older than we thought of. Now in 1971, he actually invented and developed the electronic version of email that we know today. And then 20 years later, in 1991, the internet went live, and email was at that point being primarily used by universities and corporations as a way for internal communication systems. Then at that point in 91, the general public saw it as nothing but a novelty, and the general public also knew it was too expensive for them to, participate in email. So then we move on to July 4th of 1996. Can anybody tell me what the first email service, free service was that was launched? Put it in the chat for me. In 1996, the first free email service.
That's my guess too.
What was
AOL.
it? AOL.
Yeah, so I would think so as well, but it was actually Hotmail, launched in 1996 on the 4th of July. So I know, right? These are things that are like it. AOL did exactly what Kleenex does, which is a tissue is not a Kleenex, but a Kleenex is a tissue, right? So good out of the gate marketing. And then you have what everybody thinks of email primarily today, which is Gmail, and that was launched in April Fool's Day of 2004. So Gmail's not that old, but it seems like it's been forever. The first email ever sent was user@host. So thought that's a fun one, right? All right, so all those are fun facts, but I think that I wanted you to kind of get a feel for how old email really is, and it's still very new to us, and there's still new stuff coming out all the time because our technology is just growing so quickly, right? But my question for you is, so please put in the chat, how many emails do you think that we send every day? Not us, but emails sent as a whole. How many emails do you think
worldwide?
are processing through the internet worldwide every single day? We'll go with companies. There's companies and consumer emails. So I'll do companies and consumers. Give me something.
First guess, 300 trillion. And then we've got billions, billions, 1.3 trillion. It's very precise. 10 billion.
Nice. So the data right now is showing about 121 billion business emails are every day. That's 121 billion business emails. And the consumer emails are at around 111.1 billion. So just interesting because the consumer emails are very close to the same amount as business emails. And I'll tell you, if you haven't looked at your emails and the situation you're in, the average person with a small business is actually sending out about 126 emails per day. And if you calculate that times your 365 days, that means if you're a small business and you're sending out that average emails, you're sending out about 45 to 46,000 emails a year. That's a lot to process. My team is sending out double that just because of the amount of business we do and the traffic we have coming through the email system. So we're well over 200 a day. So, that's 90,000 emails we're processing. That can suck up your whole life. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because I really want you to take email seriously. There's two components to that. Your stuff can be very lost in email, and then it's a necessity. So we want to use email and use its strengths. And so the first thing I want to chat with you about is your signature. And everybody should have a signature on their email that is one of those systems that is set it and forget it. And once you get it all set up the way you want, it should be a system in place, like anything else, that takes care of things for you. Now, also remember to check in every year. I check in on January or the end of December. I check in on systems. I see if we need some updating. I see if they need changed, making sure the content is still what I want. I might want to make it look fresh and new. So I would say put that on your calendar. So end of year, check your email. And if something changes, you move brokers or something happens, of course, change your email immediately. Let's go to an email signature. You can see my email signature there. Brian, can you see that? Okay, yep. So that's my email signature. That's my photograph on my business cards. It's on my signs. Everybody knows me in town as the crazy guy with the iguana on his head. So I, of course, have that in my email. It also, there's eyeballs and teeth attached to that, and people relate to eyeballs and teeth. They want to see smiles and they want to see eyes. So it really helps to have a picture of yourself in your email. I don't mean you have to have a posy picture with a tie, pretending you're all that and a piece of cheesecake in front of a jet. I mean, really an authentic email picture, something like that, where you're on vacation. Just think authentic. Think about what those people that are going to see your face, what they're seeing. And you might even ask your friends, hey, what's this picture say to you? Because sometimes I've seen people think that they're smiling and they have grouchy face. So you want to, if you don't know for sure that it's a good picture, check in with somebody who will give you an honest answer. And that's typically not a spouse because they don't want to get into a fight with you. So find that person. Here's some of the components you should have on your email. If you have a tagline, a mission statement, I would put those on your email. Of course, you need your broker info on your email signature. your websites, social media, any charities that you work with is great. And I would definitely have links. So what you can see is on mine, you can see that I have, here's my taglines, information, how to get hold of me. You can click on Google reviews and go right straight over to Google and you can see my reviews. You can go to my websites from here. I also have my social media here. So you can see that I have the faces of Tucson. You can see that I have my different accounts. I created this all in my Gmail account. So you can do this as well. I would also caution you not to use a blowout photo, which is what I call them. And you've all seen it. You get a photo and all the same information is within inside of one photo, and you try to open your email and it blows out the email instantly, and you got to scroll to the right or scroll to the left, and you're trying to go up and down and scrolling left and right. So be very aware of what your email looks like. Send yourself one so you know what your signature looks like, so it's not blowing out people's email, because that's very frustrating when you're trying to read them. All of these I did in the Gmail signature system, which is in, in the, I think it's in settings somewhere up in here, and you just click on it and you go to the more tools and then you create your signature in Gmail. If you have anything else like yet you're using for email, you should have a signature, a way to do it, a signature. This may not look as professional as you want it to look, but I will caution you to be careful about over creating stuff that looks too glossy and slick, because the consumers can smell commission breath a mile away. So you want to be authentic with your stuff. Don't be afraid to be you. This is totally me. It's just who I am. And you can see that in the way I put this together. Underneath the links I want you to find in social media, I have my RE/MAX selected address, equal housing opportunity, and please consider the environment before printing the email. Also, of course, wire fraud and disclaimer are on there as well. So necessary, and I don't have to think about it anymore every time I send an email. And remind you, I have 45,000 to 90,000 emails that I'm processing. Who knows how many I'm sending out? I don't know that number, but if I'm sending out 200 a day, then 200 people a day, 50 to 90,000 people every year are seeing this information. That's why I say take this very seriously, because this is a beautiful brochure for you. And if you do anything today that I show you, do this, because you have to use email. You will use it every day of your life. So please make sure you go back and check that your email signature is what you want it to be, and make sure that it's something that your clients want to see. Are you offering value in this signature? Any questions on that? We good, Brian?
Nothing in the chat. Yep, looks like we're good.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, so let's talk about why we use email, or what we use it for and what we shouldn't use it for. Email is used for all transactions that we're communicating with clients, agents, vendors. It allows us, what I love about email is it allows us to record and keep that conversation. So every time an email is sent from my assistant or myself or our buyer's agent, every email is copy pasted with date and time. All of the information off that email is copy pasted into the CRM in that client file. So in 3 years, I can go back and I can review the entire email thread. If I needed it for anything, sometimes, for example, we get relocation a year in advance, and I'll start a conversation with somebody who's analyzing a couple areas like Tucson and Palm Springs, for example, and they're deciding whether they want to come here. There is no way I'm going to remember these conversations. So it's beautiful that I have a recorded thread in the CRM under their name, because a lot of times a year to a year and a half later, these folks will reach out to me and say, we've decided to come to Tucson. I can easily now go back through the thread, read all the conversation before I respond, and I know exactly what we talked about. I'm reminded of what was important to them, and then I'm back on the same page with them for their arrival. That's just taking that little tiny extra step that we should be doing for everybody we know, right? It's just making sure that we give that reverence to somebody. So I hope everybody has a CRM here. If you don't have a CRM, please make sure you have a CRM, but you want to keep all your email threads. One of the other cool things right now is, if this got complicated for me, is because we started jumping into Zoom and to other programs where we don't have the thread of conversation for like text messaging and so forth. So I will let you know, if you're on the right Zoom product, you can get that transcribed. If you're on, I don't know the Droid, but if you're on iPhone, there's a program called iMazing, and iMazing will actually back up your iPhone just like it does in the cloud. However, iMazing backs up every text thread, so you can hit copy paste and move text threads into your CRM. And then I also record all of our conversations on telephone now with a product called Tape a Call. And if you hit the transcribe button after a conversation, Tape a Call will tell me everything that both of us said on a phone call. So there's ways to then put all that into your CRM. Okay.
Tony, quick question.
Yeah.
As it relates to the signature, before we get too much further down the line,
Sure.
What happens when you send an email from your iPhone? Do you have the same signature set up on your handheld device?
Yes, yeah, because I have my device set up to send everything out through my Gmail account. And so as I send things out, it sends it out with that same signature.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on how you set up your phone, because you might have two different accounts. I have several email accounts. If you want to get hold of me, for example, you're going to send an email to TonyRay@ctucsonhomes.com. If you send it there, it's going to forward into my Gmail account. That's going to allow me then to, if you can see on the screen here, these are all my files that I keep everybody's emails in, because I'm dealing with not only running a real estate company, but we have a Airbnb, long-term rentals, trolley tour company. I teach classes nationally. So I have different businesses all running through there. So Gmail is my choice, just to allow me to quickly see it all. So on your phone, you set it up on which one of these accounts you want to go through to send out mail.
That came from the audience. The other, do you want to endorse the CRM? What CRM do you use?
So I, again, started with a coaching club called By Referral Only. My whole business is based on that. I've been with By Referral Only for 25 years. They have a do-it-yourself system where they give you a CRM, and then from there, they pretty much can help you. They take care of everything besides coaching and training you how to do business by referral and how to create that type of business I have. They actually, from entry level to mastery level, they do your farming for you. They do everything for you. You just pay whatever the price of a stamp and a postcard is, and they take care of it. So it's an all-in-one inclusive system. It's called BRO, By Referral Only. If you called them and mentioned my name, they'd take really good care of you. They all know me. I do training classes on some of their stuff as well. Does that help?
Yeah, just one of the questions, and that, yeah, certainly that's helpful.
The CRM in there is, the CRM is all geared towards taking care of clients. So it tracks their birthdays and sends them out a really cool birthday message, and it by email, by the way, which I'm going to show you. It takes care of who their tree is and how many people they referred to you. And when you click on them, you can see how they're related to all the people that have come through my business for 25 years. I can click and see every single person and how they're related. I can tell from the first 10 clients how they blossomed and how many of the 500 where they all came from. So it's really neat because it really focuses on taking care of COI or SOI, depending on what you call it. So the CRM. So recapping conversations and putting them in CRM. The other reason we use email, which is a really effective way, is to share data. We can share PDF files. We can share links to videos. We can share pretty much any type of document. We can shoot photos now. We can share videos. I mean, Gmail is getting to a point where I can drop pretty large video files over to somebody. So that's pretty cool. So that's another reason we use email. And then email works really well on for groups. If we need to, let's say Brad is wanting to send something out to everybody at the Faces of Tucson group, he can put everybody in the BCC line and he can send one email and everybody gets it and everybody's on the same thread. And he can choose whether we all see each other's emails or whether we don't. And I know this all sounds basic, but I want you thinking how important email is and really create systems around that. You need to be intentional about how you use email. I always BCC my assistant on every single email I ever send. One, it gives me an arrival date. It shows me that the email arrived to someone. And so I can tell it also arrived to the other agent at that time, most likely, right? And then she just copies, pastes it into the CRM for us. So that's why I BCC her on everything. Sometimes I want everybody on a group thread to see each other's emails because I want to share it. So I'll CC everybody's emails. But I want you to be very careful and pay attention to that because sometimes that's not appropriate. And many times I still get, like I did last week, a private email and the guy actually CC'd 28 people. So we all saw each other. So pay attention to your BCC and your CC. Value-added marketing, that's what you use email for. We're in this class right now to talk about marketing. It's value-added marketing. That's the way to use email. I'm going to show you a couple of value-added marketing systems. If you're not bringing value to them, they're not going to open it. So you've got to have value-added marketing. So here's what we don't want to use email for. And I don't care what someone's trying to sell you or what someone's bragging about. Don't do it. It's like right now, everybody's talking about business texting, and I'm getting at least 5, 6, 7 a day now, spam emails. And I can tell you I'm blocking every one of their phone numbers and I don't want anything to do with them. They're invading my phone. And so don't get involved in that kind of stuff. It doesn't work. It's not going to happen. So don't use your email for spam. Resist all temptation. Make sure it's of value. Don't use email if you don't want it recorded, because guys like me are copy pasting every single thing and storing it all. Once you send an email, there's no getting it back. Well, maybe a little bit on Gmail. It gives you a few minutes to undo. But my point is, if it's out there, it's going to be recorded. So don't send anything you don't want recorded. And I would caution you to send newsletters about real estate to your COI or SOI. So COI, center of influence, SOI, sphere of influence. I keep finding that there's two different groups using those words. I use center of influence because I look at it like the top 10, top 20, like a bullseye, and how I'm marketing differently to those groups. The reason I say newsletters about real estate, they're not of value to your clients. Your clients are going to buy a house every 5, 7, 10 years. They don't care about anything to do with real estate stuff. The basic generic real estate newsletters, it's not value to them. You have to bring value. So talk about their neighborhood or their specific home, or talk about tips on taking care of their house. But they just don't want those boring newsletters that you're seeing a lot of the title companies and stuff are creating for free. But caution you on those. As nice as that is of them to do that for you, it's still probably not going to be what your clients want to read. And the best way to look at anything is, do you want it in your inbox? That's how I would look at it. So let's talk about some fun emails at work. Happy birthday emails work really great. I would follow up so the reason I say happy birthday emails work really great is because I have a system for that. My system is that the email fires out first thing in the morning and it goes to their business address. If I can at all possibly get it to their business address, it goes there. That's where I want their happy birthday emails to go to. I'm going to follow that up with a phone text. So I'm going to wish them happy birthday on the phone by text. And if I can call them, I will call them. It just depends on where they are in work. But that's everybody's most special day throughout the year is their birthday. And to sincerely be part of that is awesome. Don't be the insurance agent with the fake signature on the card, because we all know what happens to those. They come in the mail and we open it up and we can tell that somebody printed those all out a year in advance and then we throw them away. It's not sincere birthday. Birthday cards in the mail going to the office or the house are awesome as long as you actually handwrite it and as long as you don't put a business card in there and it's a sincere birthday card. And that's another whole system. One of the cool things I love is sending out an email with the birthday information that we send out is all about their day in the past. And that comes out of our BRO CRM system. But it's a different email every single day. And it actually tells people on your birthday at this time, this person did this, and this is what we know about this person and their attributes. And so remember that you're part of that. So it's a beautiful kind of chicken soup from the soul kind of birthday wish with a very beautiful story that relates to their birthday. So something of value like that, we typically almost probably 90% of everybody I send that to, I get about a 90% return rate on a thank you and wow, I didn't know. And they really love that kind of an email. Flowers, edible flowers, real flowers, that kind of stuff works really great too to follow up. After you've sent that business address email, send something to their office. So those are systems, and you have to figure out what you're going to do with those systems. And they're not always going to work. You may not always have a business email. You may have a personal email. So do the best you can with what you have. I don't know that I have a birthday email. I don't. So any questions about birthday? The other thing that's really great is an email around a holiday, for example. You can send out, I just want you to keep thinking chicken soup for the soul kind of books. If you think about how they relate to people, they tell a story that's inspiring. So emails that inspire around holidays, emails that are a little earlier than the holiday, those kind of emails work really well. People like to open those if there's that really beautiful kind of story in there. You can see those if you go to my Facebook post. You can see some of those type of stories on my Facebook thread, and then the reactions we get from those, I will actually send those out on an email to everybody, and then I'll take the same story and post it up onto social media. And the reason I'm doing that is because people who don't check their email will catch it on social media and vice versa. So one of the systems we're using right now is called local events. And I like local events a lot because the local events is actually telling people what's happening in Tucson over the next 2 weeks. And I get local events. It's all done for me. It's handpicked and selected. The cost of that email system's like $59 a month. And I get it through a company called Reminder Media. And Reminder Media does, they do our magazines. They do a full color glossy magazine to our top 100 clients. And then they actually do this local events. And so let me show you, if I can show you one of those emails. So this is what our clients are getting. Every couple weeks, they get one of these. It says August 5th through August 19th. And it says brought to you by Darren, Marta, and Tony Ray. And it says on August 7th that at Club Congress, this event's going on. Then you can see it does a little piece about us. It's a little signature. You can see the faces of Tucson and equal housing opportunity here. You can see that I've got that. Unfortunately, this was my test run and I blew out the photograph. So that should be tiny. I got that fixed, but you can see the next one. on Friday, August 6th, and then you can see that there's another one on August 10th. And this email is super popular because right now what's happening is people have been pent up inside. Their COVID has caused, a problem for folks not being able to be out and see each other and all this. So as this COVID thing gets more and more under control, events become more and more desirable. These emails are super popular for our community. And another nice thing is I'm supporting my community. So I love this one because I'm not doing it. It's all done for me. It's a no-brainer. If you did anything for $60 a month, this would be a really nice way to go. Again, the bottom of this is my signature line again, and you can see how fun all this stuff is. If they click on this, and we get there, you can see that it goes into all these different links for them, so they can see all kinds of fun stuff. So, and it's all through us, right? So that's the cool part, is we're bringing some really fun stuff to our clients, and it's a value. I can give you the information. I can probably put this into chat, right? Let's see if I can get this thing to. Where's my chat? I'm gonna throw this into chat for you so you can have, the guy I talked to is Chris Cassell, and he's over at Reminder Media. Give you that guy, Chris Cassell. And if you call Chris, that's his extension, and then just tell him Tony Ray sent you. He and I work together a lot on our on all my marketing stuff that they do for me. Chris is a supervisor over there. He'll get you to the right person, and they can explain. They're not a pushy group. They're not going to try to push you into stuff. They will explain this product for you, which is, again, I think it's $59 a month. I get a discount, a big discount on it, because I send out magazines. Okay. Any questions on local events? We all good?
I think we're good.
So the other type, of course, of emails that I think are really valuable right now are BombBomb, or there's another company called Dub. Let me show you. You can go to dub.com, and then Dub sends. So these are emails you can send out that have a moving video. As soon as your consumer opens up the email, there's a moving video. It's a GIF or a GIF, and these are great emails that catch attention, and then it shows the consumer there's a video player, and all they have to do is click on it, and it will open up a video that you chose, and it'll let them go see the video. So Dub is the newer version of BombBomb. It's less expensive to get into, maybe something worth checking out if you want to try getting started. BombBomb's a more sophisticated system. They've been around for quite a while. They're at bombbomb.com. BombBomb goes really big now. They even have people that'll help you design entire campaigns, and they have a concierge type of service where they'll really do a lot of work for you as you get into higher numbers. But I don't know that that's necessary at this point. If you're just starting with them, I would trial out Dub or BombBomb and see what they've got just to get going on them. I would use BombBomb or Dub videos for teaching clients about the process. I think if you can imagine that we have a calendar of everything that's going to happen. For example, my assistant gets a calendar every day, and it says to her everything she needs to do for every client file. So whether I have 1 client file or 10 client files that day, she knows that each person has these list of items that need to be completed. So on that list, I could have a BombBomb video email go out, and she would just click send and check it off her list. When it gets to this consumer, it says, hey, you're getting ready to go to home inspection in the next couple of days. Here's what you need to know about home inspections. And here's what we've done on your behalf for a home inspection. And if you have any questions, give us a call. But the important thing about that is they're seeing eyeballs and teeth. And that would be me explaining it to them. So I can be more a part of their transaction and be more efficient and less in front of them. In the old days, I met with folks at the office and explained all of this stuff. We did consultations and we spent a lot of time doing that, but there was no way to sell 100 homes in 1 year if you're always with the client. So video like Zoom and video like BombBomb and Dub allows you to replicate yourself, do it one time, make sure you tell them what you want them to know about the process or what you want to teach them, and then have it set up so it's sent out on a system. And you can automate that and put it on calendar and it's done. Again, set it and let it go. And of course, you can change that at any time. I would use it to let them know what to expect in the process. Let them know different terminology, just what the contract means. There's so many ways to use this for a buyer or a seller. And again, you just set it and let it go. And so that'd be a really cool way to use BombBomb or Dub. I know a girl who does really well. She plays a ukulele and she sings happy birthday, and she literally sings happy birthday on a ukulele and sends the email out from BombBomb, and they click it and she's singing happy birthday to them. So so there's another idea. If you're into air guitar or something like that, you can play with videos for happy birthdays using BombBomb and Dub. Any questions about those guys?
Yeah, Tony, do you have I'd be surprised if you didn't, but do you have a list of like inspirational video ideas that you kind of revisit throughout the year, or something that's already created that maybe we can share inside the Facebook group or somewhere to make it available to everybody that's watching?
Inspirational ideas?
Like how you use BombBomb, right? You talked about the different ways you can compartmentalize the whole process of managing a transaction and how you can create a BombBomb video to go out to make sure the client's informed. Obviously, there's birthday ideas you mentioned, but other ways you might use this to be a part of your email campaign. Just wondering if you formalized a list at any point.
So yeah, no, I'm going to throw myself right under a bus. I am not yet on BombBomb or Dub. I just started researching these two because we just hit a point this last year where we did 70 transactions, and I realized I really want to stay closer to the client, but I can't see them. And I didn't get FaceTime with my clients like I like. And I'm seeing myself drawing farther away from them. And I don't like that because our business was built by referral, and that is built on relationships. And so they get texts and emails and phone calls from me. But I realized last year, I'm good at video on other ways, but not at keeping in touch in the process. So yeah. Now that we added Marta to our team, that's another thing that I'm thinking about is how can I help Marta and Darren and everybody that we want to bring into the future? How can I help them by just setting up like a client teaching process? So that's where I'm at with it. So no, unfortunately, I don't have anything yet. Yeah, okay. But I'm happy to share it as I build it, because I'll, unless somebody else has some that are already doing this, be great to share. But yeah, I'm going to build it out, like what that looks like, what we need to teach the buyer and what we need to teach the seller. And then there'll be 2 different training courses. Any other
questions?
Sounds good.
There was a question when you talk about, educating them on the process and getting into the kind of the nuts and bolts of an actual transaction. Would you make sure there's a disclaimer on these business videos? Is that something you think would be necessary?
I wouldn't put it in the video itself, but when you send out the email, a disclaimer is always a great idea. And so when you send out the email, you could have a disclaimer at the bottom of every email, that says, hey, make sure that you talk to us specifically about your transaction. This information is provided to help you ask questions. It's here to plant seeds and get you thinking. So yeah, I would definitely put a disclaimer at the bottom. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Are we good? Okay, so anybody have an idea? Let's put in the chat room of what you think an email should get as far as click rate. So, I mean, let's go with open. What percentage do you think of emails are open, and what's a good number to shoot for? So what is that number we're shooting for to get emails open? What percent?
This is going to your sphere or your center of influence, right? These are people that know you versus a list.
Yep. Let's go with COI or SOI. What percent? Hey, I see Dolly just popped in there. Hey, Dolly. Dolly was in my class with me. She taught in Spokane, Washington last week. Okay, so if you get your clients to open your emails at a 15% rate, a 16% rate, that is considered high in industry standard. So this is the face. It's not good. You should be like, what? And the problem with email is I want you to remember what we talked about before, which is if your clients and everybody are getting 100 to 200 a day, whatever they're processing through, your noise, just like on the thread for Facebook, you're just noise. So there's things that you have to know, which is 10% is probably pretty normal for an open rate. And if you can get 15, 16, 18%, you're going to celebrate that. That's a good number. If you use a company like Constant Contact, or what's that one? I want to call it Monkey Butt. Not Monkey Butt.
MailChimp.
Not
Monkey Butt.
I call it Monkey Butt powder, and I had to get it from my little brother one time as a joke. It's because it was just too funny. Yeah, so if you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact, those guys have those stats too. But seriously, you're trying to get 15, 16% to open your email. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I'm going to go over some ways to try to get that, get that number up for you. But the one email I'm going to show you right now that is outperforming anything I've ever seen is a product called Homebot. And so I'm going to pop over here and show you the Homebot. Well, let me show you what a Homebot email looks like. So Homebot has a CRM, a mini CRM, and you put all of your clients' data into the CRM. And I mean, not like my regular CRM data, like birthdays. I'm putting in their address, the home address, their email address, first and last name. So that Homebot can start searching and figuring out what it can tell us about the client's home and neighborhood. So if you look over here, let's see, Darren Jones got a Homebot. And so I'm going to show you what he receives. And it says your new home value estimate is ready. See your value. And so this is Darren's email from Homebot. What I'm blown away by Homebot is I've been using it since it came out. I beta tested it and when it was started, and Homebot is every month, and it has always performed the same. And I'm going to show you what the crazy part of that is. So I'm going to go to my activity on the Homebot screen, and I want you to see right here. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, it's up.
78% opened my Homebot. I've never had under 75%. It is always 75 to 92%. Open my email. If I send out 262, which I did, 78% opened it. It is absolutely amazing how many people open that and how many people go back and repeat open it. So they're seeing me over and over and over. And I'm going to show you why that's going on. This is the ultimate of value to the homeowner. Now, the downside of Homebot is this. It's tough to get. You've got to pair up with a lender or find a lender in your community that's using Homebot. This was created for loan officers. So you want to pair up with your LO. Once you pair up with the LO, Homebot creates the loan officer's database and your database, and neither of you are allowed to see each other's databases. What happens is if there's any questions that come up from the email that are related to mortgages, the consumer can click and it'll go to the LO. And if it's a question about real estate, the consumer clicks and it goes to you. The loan officer can have 10 realtors on the system, and the more they have on the system, the less expensive it is for each of you with the LO. So I think the top price is $25 a month. But if the loan officer has 10 realtors, then you all pay $10 a month. And that's to help, that's to keep you all out of RESPA trouble. So the cool thing is it's really inexpensive. It's the top producing email I've ever seen or ever have had or used. And so it's worth every penny. And I actually went to Homebot, and I did not have a loan officer at the time that I wanted to pair up with. So I talked to the folks over at Homebot, and they let me pay for the entire system myself. So I bought the system, and when you see one of my Homebot emails go out, it does not click through to a lender, it clicks through to me, and it tells me there's a lending question, and I pick the loan officer I want. And the reason is, for me, is I have 3 loan officers that I work with, and they all specialize in different things, and I want to make sure when a client is referred in my CRM, I can tell what loan officer and who referred them. And I want to put the new referral always back with the same loan officer that's connected to their friend. So I pay for the system in full. Every year I pay to have this. That's how much I believe in the ROI on this. So let me get you a homeowner. And you can see I have 297 owners in the system right now. We're careful on who we load in this. It is all automated. You can just upload the list. They'll help you do it. It's very simple. They'll even walk you through uploading the list. I can go into my homeowners list and I can type in Jones. And it should bring up, there's Darren Jones there. There's Darren Jones has 2 houses here in the system. We're going to go to the Bella Vista property. So you can see that there's the address, there's a preview of what I sent Darren, and I can send the email right now if I want to. If Darren and I are chatting and I make some changes, I go to the edit function, I change it, I can hit the email, send it to him so he sees the new version. This has an AVM, and it's just like any of the other AVMs out online, like Godzilla or whatever, there's AVMs. The interesting thing about these AVMs is they're all so different. And I'm going to show you that because this is one of the reasons this works so well. This AVM says this home is worth $375. I automatically want to know what Zillow always thinks on an AVM, because Zillow is what the consumer's looking at. I don't buy into Zillow. I refuse to pay any money to Zillow. I have nothing to do with Zillow. However, the consumer thinks Zillow is correct many times, so I need to know what Zillow thinks this is worth. And remember, my sellers, my owners also want to know what Zillow thinks. So they're going to click on Zillow, and they're going to get his estimate for $428,000 on this house. Okay. So I'm most likely now going to get Darren's going to send me a message, and he's going to say, hey, what is this house worth? Because your Homebot says it's worth $375 and Zillow says $428. Why is that fantastic? Because I get to talk to Darren, and it's indicating to me that there's something going on with Darren, and then we can get deeper into conversation. So I'm going to go check out Zillow, know what we're talking about, and then I'm going to look at what Darren's seeing on his digest. So this is Darren's email. And one of the cool things, one of the neatest things about this is how interactive the email is. And so you can see I could click this little box and it moves over here and it says, this is what we found that we think is your current mortgage. And it says, we think you have a balance of 250. We think you had an original balance of 258, and we think your mortgage is fairway. We also think you have a 30-year fixed rate at 3.875. Can I help Darren right now? Just with this, what we know right now, can I help Darren? You bet I can, right? Brad, I can see your wheels spinning on this. It's you understand I'm going to pick up the phone and call Darren and talk about that. Because I probably can get Darren to one of my LOs and help Darren refinance this property right now as these rates keep dropping below 3 and getting closer to 2.5 and stuff as they're moving. I could have the conversation with Darren to be prepared and ready and tell the loan officer as soon as they see this rate hit, like a 2.75, to lock it in and go. So that's a great conversation to have with Darren. And it positions me as his consultant. And it also positions me as someone who still cares about him after he's already bought the house. He can add a mortgage if he wants. Maybe he just did a cash out or a second, he just did something. He can add that mortgage in there. So he has editing. This is his email. He has editing capability. You can see Darren gets to get excited over this, especially now as we're going through these times where appreciation and equity are hot. He gets to watch the graph, right? And Darren gets to see that he has about 124,000 in equity just based on this value. He can tune the value or ask me to tune the value. And if he changes it, his equity is going to change. And since we're so close to running out of time, I'm going to zoom through this for you. But what's important here is it tells him all kinds of little toys to play with. Like if he did a refi for a 15-year, what could he save over the amount of time for the next 15 years? Tells him principal paid out, equity paid out. But look at how it keeps interacting. It asks him questions. It tells him to click. If he clicks on anything, I'm notified. Okay. But here's the fun stuff. What if he could do a refi and save on the interest? A 15-year fixed right now at 2.25 will save him $40,000. He can play with this. He can change it. He can go to a 15-year. It'll save him $90,000. This is stuff your consumers don't know. We know it, but they don't. And it's really fun to watch them learn. 30-year fixed, 25-year fixed. It even gives in the system here, it'll even tell them, we don't recommend you do this based on these numbers. Here's some fun stuff for your first-time home buyers. What if you just made an extra $200 a month payment? You could save $40,000. There's a conversation. What if you want to purchase a new home? What's your buying power with the equity? What if you want to rent your home and buy another home? Get some pocket cash to go on a vacation. All these are questions that it's prompting your consumer to play with. If you rented your home on Airbnb, how much would it be worth? It's actually analyzing revenue on a nightly rate from Airbnb. This is a great conversation. This is how I sell most of we get kids who are first-time homebuyers to start thinking about building a portfolio of rentals. Estimate based on rentals nearby. It's pretty awesome. And Airbnb's a total buzzword for your younger buyers right now because they're realizing it's a great way to make extra cash flow. So this is a very in-depth, I could teach a whole class probably for 2 hours on Homebot, but I'm hoping that you just understand one thing, and that is this is a powerful, powerful tool. And it's not because I say so. It's because I have 2 years of proven track record with this thing, and it's always about 85% average rate of open every single time I send it, which means I'm top of mind for our customers, which is awesome. Last thing I want you to know is on any of those emails you send out, find a headline analyzer, check, make sure your headlines are good. I'm going to give you one right now, a blog about headlines. I'm going to throw this in the thing for you. Your headlines change whether they open them or not. If you are sending to your COI, like my local events, it says Tony Ray's favorite local events. I put my name on there because my COI sees Tony Ray and they recognize it and open the email. If it's strangers, if it's not, don't put your name on it. You want to use a headline analyzer to start understanding how people open emails based on subject lines. Should be doing that for everything. I'm out of time because we're at 9:32 and I promised an hour. And I could go another hour. So, which is my MO typically. Any questions on all this crazy? And you can unmute yourself and just talk to me if you want.
Yeah, I think question and answer is probably appropriate at this point, now that most of the material's been covered, but no need to keep this in chat. You know, for those that are left, if you've got a question for Tony, feel free to fire away.
Yeah, ask away. I'm happy to answer anything I can.
Tony, when looking at your email signature, it seems like a lot is going on for me, but you're saying that adds value and it's memorable. It just seemed like a lot. I don't know if you've heard that before. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I've never heard that before. But understand your new consumer is all about graphics, pictures. They're all about little things that catch their eye. And there's an ADD thing going on in our world, which is, what do I want to see? So the reason I have that set up that way is because if somebody's interested in, if they're an Instagram person, they're not going to see all my signature. They're going to be drawn right to that Instagram button and click. If they want to know about the Faces of Tucson, or they've seen the Faces of Tucson and they're like, oh man, that's that cool thing Tony Ray's doing, they'll click on the Faces of Tucson. So it's interesting because what they'll do is they'll gravitate to whatever little photograph grabs their attention, and they won't even notice the rest, which is interesting because that's what people are doing. Does that help?
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Don't be afraid to put little blocks of information like that. And remember, graphics are key. That's why you want your teeth and your eyeballs on there. See your beautiful face. They want to see your smile. And then make sure you add fun things to click, because people really want to play around. Anybody else? Dolly, are you typing like furiously over there?
Tony, how about a heads up on what shall we do as session number 3?
Yeah, let's get into that. So we did social media last time and we did email. Let's do websites next time, and that'll wrap some of this up together too, because these items both should have a line directly over to websites and how to do websites. My one website produces 8 million a year in sales, and it's a homegrown do-it-yourself website. So if I can do that, anybody can do that. It's just a matter of putting it together, or getting a college kid like I do.
So we'll send it out inside a broker agent and inside of the Faces of community. You and I will pick a date for the middle to back half of September. And we'll get back at it with class number 3 for websites. And anything else you want to add before we?
I think that also, if you, I would love if on that website class that Brad or somebody who knows the Faces of Tucson product, maybe Ann or somebody, just even gave me 5 or 10 minutes in that hour of what happens. Because one of the things when I'm showing that kind of product and how important that is, the question keeps coming up to me is, how hard is it to use? And it's a very simple system. So it'd be great if we have somebody like Brad, if you're there, that to help me answer questions and stuff like that. That'd be awesome for the website thing.
Happy to.
And then I'll show basic website, all the basic stuff that I use that you need to know about to create an easy website that'll help you start generating some business. Cool.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, I saw your question. It is the first session on social media is inside our Facebook group right now. You should be able to find it if you scroll down a little ways. If for some reason you can't find it, give me a heads up and I'll try to send you a link.
Okay.
Brian,
perfect,
are these being posted on YouTube? Do you have them on YouTube as well?
They'll be on the Broker Agent Advisor YouTube page at some point. Chad is taking care of that. And then from there, he's resharing them inside of Broker Agent's Facebook world. I don't know. I'd have to check and see if we added them to our Facebook page or not. I'm not sure as far as the faces of is concerned. I'll do some digging and see where they're at.
So the reason I ask is because Dolly is here with us. She was in Spokane when I was teaching. She was one of the people teaching as well on stage. And Dolly is a success coach, and she works a lot with real estate agents. And now these real estate agents that are calling in to ask questions are also talking to Dolly. And so today I sent her an email link that's when I asked you for that, so she could get on this, and because she can't get into the broker agent, obviously, because she's not a licensed realtor. But so I want to make sure that as I run into folks like Dolly, that we give them opportunity to participate as well, because they're working with real estate agents and helping them continue on the education part.
Yeah, so I'll get the answer to that, and I'll be back in touch with that.
Cool. Awesome.
Appreciate everybody sharing their time. Tony, thank you again for your graciousness and your willingness just to give up your time to others. And we'll see everybody in a month.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony.